I'll start off. Coach, the Jane!
The Jane!
How excited are you?
I'm excited. We've been waiting to be back at the Jane. We love playing here. We love playing in front of our fans. It's just, we love it. I can't say enough about the Jane, so.
What do you remember from Vaughter in particular? And I know that she's not the only one for them now, so just what makes their pitching staff as good as they are statistically right now?
Yeah, she does a good job of keeping the ball down in the zone. She changes speeds, has good command. The freshman pitcher, I haven't seen her yet. I've seen video on her, but same thing. Throws the ball up, throws the ball hard, has good command.
For the layman, if you could say she's similar to someone that people may know or may have seen so far, I mean, is she similar to Maxwell or Hightower or anything?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if we'll know that until I think we just face her.
Nothing
So
you've seen in the video that says
yeah.
this looks like
This might be a dumb question, but there's a track meet going on Friday and Saturday as well.
Okay.
Can you guys hear that when you're in? Have you ever heard like the starter's pistol like during has it ever had any effect on the game or anything?
I don't think I've ever heard it, but I guess we'll find out. But I know we've got a lot going on campus this weekend. What a cool weekend. We're going to have great weather and just all of our teams are at home playing. And I think it's going to be a great weekend.
What do you see in for any one hitter, because it can apply to anybody, but as time goes on and as they get more experience, where just that sample size in certain situational spots, what makes the difference in your observation, whether it's Val or even Bunk, who's been around for forever? Just what is the thing that makes a difference between, because it's such a narrow margin of error, but two strike hitting, two out hitting, run and score position hitting, just what ultimately is the thing that you see is kind of a commonality of like what makes them more successful in those spots?
Yeah, I think Bunk's just been clutch her whole career here. She's just got the clutch gene. And I think about that with her. I think about her experience. She's been thrown into the fire since day one. Like she had no choice but to figure it out since day one. I think Val's just a competitor. She loves to play softball. She wants to win. She wants to do big things for her team. And I think neither of them are afraid of the moment. I think that's probably it more than anything, is that they don't fear the moment. They embrace the moment.
A question for pitching this season, because you got a more robust staff. In the years past, sometimes you've let pitchers go a little bit longer than I think you would have preferred, just because there wasn't really much of an option to help. How do you balance this year, letting a pitcher self-correct versus knowing that you've got a fresh arm that kind of get out of some situations before they may begin? As you're going through that, is it a case-by-case basis, or do you kind of have an understanding going into it, like this is what we're going to do when we see this?
Yeah, I think where we are into the season, where we have a really good idea of our staff and what they can do. Think about how many innings they can go or how many outs that they can get for us. And I think that just kind of goes into your decision, what they've done up to this point. Also, what does the matchup look like? Just some different things. But I think we have a clear idea of our staff this year. I think that last year was tough a little bit at times, where I think this year they've done a really good job of just showing us who they are and what they're capable of, and it's been great.
What are the things that you're looking to improve on, that you want to see improvement from? Maybe not just because of from last weekend, but in general, like at this point where in total number of games, you're probably around the halfway point of the season.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of Pac-12 play, you're just in the second weekend. So what are some of those areas that you're looking to shore up and see some improvement?
I think for us, like you can see when all three cylinders are going, they're pretty lethal. When they're not, usually, pitching, if we're struggling a little bit, it could be because we're falling behind in the count. I think it's just continuing to work ahead in the count and have good command. Offensively, to stay disciplined and trust the plan. And when you have opportunity to clutch up. And I think defensively, just keeping us in the game. I think our defense is second to none. I think we've got a really good defense. And, just allowing them to get us out of jams and take momentum from defense to offense, I think is a big thing. So I think just the three cylinders working hand in hand together is what allows us to do what we want to do.
Reagan specifically, when it's probably a product of she throws to the hitters, relies more on the defense than say some of the others. So there are going to be more balls put in play defense more relied upon. But they've struggled a little bit. Do you think that's a byproduct of putting additional pressure on themselves, trying to be ready for that moment? And maybe sometimes there's a little slip up because unfortunately some of her outings, she's been the product of some of those errors that have kind of accumulated. It's not her pitching per se, that's what she's supposed to be doing.
I think sometimes it just happens. Our defense, I think, is really, really good. And I know for me, I expect the world from them just because of how good they are. So it happens sometimes. But I think they've been great in what they've done all year. I've been really pleased. And I just think the routine plays that we make are big time plays maybe for other programs. So we expect a lot from them, but we expect a lot from our staff and from our hitters. So sometimes you might have a misstep, and that's where somebody else needs to step up. If we don't make a play on defense, then our pitchers go, no problem, we'll take this one. Or our pitcher leaves a ball over the plate and, they smoke a ball and Taya goes, oh, no problem, I got you, and makes a backhand down the line. So I think it's just them picking each other up. I don't think we're going to always be perfect. I think it's just about us being consistent in what we do.
And as a coach, because this team is so resilient and always finds a way, does that factor into how you're doing things sometimes? An example, like maybe you don't put someone in as a pinch runner to get that run in the second inning because you know that we're going to have opportunities a little bit later on. I mean, do those things, obviously those factor in, but do you find yourself looking ahead more than just gaining the immediate? You've got 7 innings, so you got a long game, and I just think you have to. I don't ever want to second guess my decisions. I think you got to see the situation, make your decision, and go from there. So if that's putting somebody in early, or if maybe waiting and putting them in later, I think it just kind of goes along with the game.
As stacked as the league was last year, and I think everybody was, I want to say in the top 70, maybe in the top 60 in RPI by the end of it. And I realize it's a little early, a couple are outside that, but standings-wise, outside of Oregon State, and they went to the World Series last year, everybody's off to a pretty nice start. Your perspective so far, I realize early in league play, of just how stacked this league is again, and how competitive this is, where you guys are probably going to be having more often than not top 25 matchups all the way through.
Yeah, I think it's very competitive. I think it's the most competitive it's been since I've been in the league. So I think every single team has played a tough schedule, and anybody can beat anybody on any given day. So it's, I think, going to be a dogfight every single weekend for sure in the PAC. But I think this is the strongest it's been since I've been in the league.
Just while we have a chance, a quick question on a specific play, but when Paige was going through and she ended up, the umps called her out, I'll say. Was that a play where you're having her go, or where she's kind of making that decision, seeing where the ball was out on her own? There was just.
Are you talking about the play at the plate?
Well, it was, yes. So.
Where we got thrown out at the plate?
Where she was rounding third.
Yeah. No. Yep.
No, not quite.
No, yeah. No, absolutely. I'm sending her. They had to make a perfect throw to throw her out, which I felt like they did. The outfielder had her back turned to us. Paige has good speed, so yeah, I sent her.